hello, and welcome to The One Show with Alex Birthday Girls Jones. Yes. Many happy returns.
You've come on a good day, Peter. And Matt Baker, of course. Thank you, Matt. On tonight's show, a man who got his big film break 30 years ago in The Charming Local Hero.
Yeah, but it wasn't until he starred as psychopathic bully Malcolm Tucker and put omni-shambles in the dictionary that he cemented his place in our hearts.
It's Peter Capaldi.
Yay! Good to see you, Peter. Good to see you. So obviously, as we were saying, Malcolm Tucker is one of the most notorious fictional spin doctors. What would he make of today's political deal on press regulation?
Well, I think he'd have a lot to say about the legislation that was passed today, but I don't think I can say it on a family show.
Good.
But I certainly think that he would feel that it lacked teeth, and he would like legislation that allowed him to use his own teeth on certain journalists, as well as electrodes and tasers and all that.
Yeah, there would be a lot going on. It's nice to know that everybody's happy and they all think they've won anyway. Yeah.
Well, on to more meaningful things. What do you think of our jellyfish?
I'm very impressed. They look quite rather beautiful and delicate and not frightening and nasty at all. Are these friendly ones, or are they...?
Very friendly, apparently.
We've been sat next to them for a little while now, and they haven't, done anything too...
But these aren't the ones that sting you, or are they?
No. Completely friendly.
Silent. Not silent and deadly, but...
They're just very
silent
patient.
and very friendly.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
We got them in for Alex's birthday.
Is this a birthday present?
It is.
We'll have more about them a little bit later on. Anyway,
We'll look back on this in the same way that we look back on medieval bloodletting.
Maybe indeed. Dr. Matt Porter is here. So passionately expressed views from Ben in the film there. But do you think it's really realistic for all these drug companies to reveal their testing?
Well, I think the first point to make, to reiterate what Ben said in the film, is not just drug companies. I think researchers themselves and universities need to shoulder some of the responsibility. If you ask the drug companies why all this data is not available in the public domain, the sort of answers that come out are it's about patient confidentiality. They've got concerns about that. There are commercial vested interest concerns as well. They don't want their rivals seeing what they're doing. They also say this is a problem, it's a historic problem that actually both they and the authorities are taking steps to correct the problem.
Yeah.
For me, it's a matter of trust. If I'm going to be prescribing you a drug, or a drug company is expecting me to prescribe you a drug based on research showing that it's the best for your diabetes, your heart disease, your cancer, I need to have the whole truth.
Yeah,
and not just half the truth. You need to trust me, I need to trust them.
Yeah, and make that informed decision, because I might be on medication already, so it becomes a cocktail and how
exactly.
that's
It's about making an informed decision about what's good for you, what's good for the NHS, etc.
Would you have enough time, though, to wade through all of this literature and everything that would be produced?
It would be silly to pretend that we do, but we depend on bodies. A bit like when you buy a car or a washing machine, you might go to expert opinion that you trust. We have bodies that condense the information down to us and present us with, you should be using this for that and that for this.
Yeah.
But they depend on the information that's in the public domain. And if they don't have access to it, they can't give me the right advice and I can't give you the right advice.
So are we more likely, do you think, then to see more transparency from these drug companies?
Well, Ben's campaign, All Trials, has got about 40,000 signatories, 100 patient groups, the UK's leading drug company, and pretty well all the great and good from the UK world of medicine. Plus, the UK government and the EU are looking at it. So I think, in a word, yes.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, thanks ever so much indeed, Mark, as always.
Well, you know all about remote locations, Peter. Having filmed Local Hero was done where, in Penna?
Local Hero, yeah, well, Local Hero was actually in a fictional village.
Oh, right.
But we actually made it on the west coast and the east coast of Scotland. There was a fabulous beach on the west coast near Mallaig, which provided the beautiful kind of golden sands and the glorious views out to the islands.
Is that your kind of location? Or do you, is it...
My kind of location?
Yeah,
I'm really a sort of urbanite. I'm not sort of great in the country. I mean, I love it and I love going to visit. No, but you know what it's like? If you've got friends who live in the country, they always say, "Will you come? Why don't you come down for the weekend?" And then they phone up and say, "Why don't you come on Thursday? And why don't you stay until like Tuesday?" And then they want you to spend the whole week there because clearly that reaches a point where there's nothing to do. But,
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
And I'm a guy, I need, a newspaper and a cappuccino, and I've got to have that. Or espresso. But these Scottish islands are absolutely gorgeous, and Jura is absolutely wonderful, and Shetland's beautiful, which I've been to, and I have friends on the island of Lewis. I mean, the thing is, they are fabulously interesting places. You find all kinds of... There are Viking remains there. There are standing stones, the Killanish stones, which are like a kind of baby Stonehenge, which are in the island of Lewis. Fascinating.
have to go and make some films for us up there, Peter. You're incredibly knowledgeable about this.
No, I'm not knowledgeable.
As long as it doesn't take more than 2 days.
After 2 days, I start to go, oh.
But anyway, you've turned your attentions to Leonardo da Vinci, haven't you?
Yeah.
Inside the Mind of Leonardo, this incredible documentary doing for Sky Arts.
Yes.
And now he
sounds like the numbskulls, doesn't it? It's actually going to be inside a set that is the head of Leonardo da Vinci.
But no, I mean, obviously the greatest genius known. Any idea why they chose you to play him?
I don't know. My kind of cleverness and brightness. I really have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, I think they wanted to have someone who wasn't like the idea, the received idea that people have of Leonardo da Vinci, which is really based upon he did a self-portrait when he was old, when he looked like God. He looked like God.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously that was at the end of his life. And he had quite his life was, there was a lot of struggling in his life. So I think they just wanted to try and have somebody who was a bit not like Leonardo.
But the narrative of the series is based on sort of thousands of entries from his diary, isn't it?
Yeah. What it is, it's really the story of his life, but told through these fabulous computer-generated recreations of his sketchbooks and drawings and notebooks. Fabulous. It's in 3D. Yeah. Fabulous kind of shots of the landscapes of where he came from.
3D, that. It must really take you in there.
Yeah, it absolutely creates this whole world and pulls you inside it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wrote every single word that I speak in the show is his.
Yeah.
Because he wrote like 6,000 notebooks or something.
Well, let's have a look at you in Leonardo mode.
What's the point of passing from the earth unnoticed? Man who doesn't become famous is no more than wood smoke on the wind or foam upon the sea. But I intend to leave a memory of myself in the minds of others. Leonardo da Vinci, disciple of experience.
Yeah. You do learn a lot. You do learn a lot from watching it. You do. Yeah.
But what we couldn't believe was that there's so many similarities between yourself and Leonardo da Vinci. So you are the perfect man to play him.
Oh, really? What similarities?
Right, here we go.
An Italian name, I think.
No. So you were born on the 14th of April.
Yeah.
Da Vinci on the 15th.
This is like the Da Vinci.
He is exactly...
Tom Hanks is going to come.
Yeah, no.
He's exactly 506 years and 1 day older than you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You're talking of the Italian connection.
The Italian connection.
Your
His dad
dad
had a fish and chip shop.
Yeah, but your dad was Italian, wasn't he?
Yes, and my grandfather was Italian.
Yeah.
Yes. But he married a Scotswoman.
Right.
I don't know if Leonardo da Vinci's father married a Scotswoman.
No.
We'd know about that, wouldn't I?
But you went to art school as well, did you not?
I went to art school, yeah, and so studied drawing and painting and all of that stuff, and so obviously was educated to a degree in art history, and so I knew about Da Vinci and the Renaissance and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I mean, I had a kind of background in art.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in him and interested in the way that he works and the techniques that he comes up with. I mean, I think it's one of the things that I think is absolutely amazing about him is, we live in an age where, Simon Cowell is a genius, and people who design handbags are geniuses, and people who make shoes are geniuses.
Yeah.
This is the real thing.
Yes.
This is a guy who, creates anatomical drawings of the inside of the human body, which are still used to this day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Figures out how the lungs work, how the heart works. And, by the way, is also the greatest painter of the Renaissance.
Yeah, exactly. And everything he says is incredibly relevant to modern life here, as we know it as well.
Well, as we said, it's based on these diaries.
Who's to say what's going to turn up next?
All right, we get it. They're not jellyfish.
And we know, Mike said, don't worry about it. But we've got Simon Garrett here, who is kind of a jellyfish extraordinaire. You know everything there is to know about him, Simon. How long have you been keeping jellyfish?
I've only been keeping jellyfish for a few years, but I work with people who've been keeping them and breeding them for 30 years plus now.
And what is it about them that meant that you want to keep? Because we've already had people get in contact with us, having seen them on the show tonight, and said we want to buy them.
Well, I mean, up until probably about the last 2 years, keeping jellyfish in home aquariums has been virtually impossible, but with modern technology and design principles, they've now managed to produce aquariums that are specifically designed for keeping jellyfish in the right kind of environment.
What are the main differences then?
It's mainly mainly to do with the type of flow that's encountered in the aquarium and designing the aquarium so that the jellyfish can't get sucked into any pumps and filters and things like that. So.
But this one's a nice one. I mean, this would be nice in anybody's lounge, wouldn't it?
Yeah, these are basically a scaled-down version of the commercial systems that they use at hatcheries and in scientific institutions.
They're a bit like a lava lamp.
Yeah.
And a light lava lamp.
Yeah.
How much do they cost and where can you get them from?
They cost about £750.
The jellyfish?
No, the aquarium does.
Right.
No, the jellyfish are usually around about £30.
All right.
And they're all captive bred, so we don't take any from the wild at all.
Yeah. How long would you expect them to?
Quite expensive.
Yeah. How long would you expect them to live for?
The natural lifespan for moon jellies, the Aurelias that are here, they're around about 12 to 14 months, their natural lifespan.
Well, that is expensive then, because you're having to replace them quite.
Yeah, you will have to replace them once they, Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them, Peter? Because they are quite mesmerising to look at.
Rather lovely. But I keep thinking this is like, I'm sure Alan Partridge or something like this.
Well, we've got something for you. Would you like to feed them?
This is some plankton.
They do bite. Oh, lovely. I love plankton.
Yeah. What are we expecting to happen here? Are they all going to rush for this plankton?
Be careful when you take the lid off. They might jump out. I'm only joking. They'll just swim around and they'll capture the food as they would in the wild. So.
Yeah. Is this going to be spectacular?
Okay.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
This is the end of our show, Peter.
All right, OK.
Just tip it in.
It's the big finish, folks.
Yeah.
The plankton being eaten by the jellyfish live on television.
And a slight little puff there from.
They're coming. They're coming.
They start pulsing around.
Yeah. How do they react to? I mean, have they got many sensors on board? Or what?
They only really have the Aurelias like these. They only really have two senses. One of them is the ability to sense what is a food item in the water, so they sting it, capture it, and pull it to the mouth.
Yeah.
And the other ability is to sense pressure, basically, so they can tell how deep they are in the water column in the water.
Simon, thanks for coming in, and good luck getting on with them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And just before we go, quickly, Peter, you were mentioning earlier that you're off to Prague tomorrow to film Three Musketeers for the BBC, a new drama.
Yes, that's why I'm growing this little moustache to be the evil Cardinal Richelieu.
Oh, the baddie.
Let's get the baddie, yes.
Right.
Yeah, he sounds quite a character.
And when can we see that, do you think?
It's going to be on next year,
Right.
2014.
Right.
Okay.
Is it quite a dark series, I'm guessing? Yeah.
No, I think it's a big Saturday night, BBC One costume romp.
Yeah.
There
And
we
the
are.
Three Musketeers are handsome boys.
They're all glamorous, youthful. I'm described as the veteran actor. So I'm happy.
Well, there we are. Peter, thanks so much. Simon, thanks again. And thanks to the jellyfish as well. That is all we've got time for tonight. Inside the Mind of Leonardo is on Sky Arts 2 and 3D on the 24th of March.
Yes. Tomorrow, Welsh Warbler, Bonnie Tyler will be here dreaming of Eurovision glory.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.